PA hand, not bad, right? Not bad at all. Okay. All right, so now have her wrist. So I know I need wrist. So I'm gonna put my wrist in the center of my cassette. All right, so what I'm gonna get you to do now is just curl your hands under. And believe it or not, as I mentioned, it actually does move it to where it touches the IR. Okay, so match this to her. I usually have to the knuckles, okay? So this here, when I say do this, put it, if you want to, so you can collimate, that's fine, but don't have it in the shadow of the patient like that. If it's in the shadow, it's gonna, we consider that essential anatomy, okay? So, put it close, but not too close. If you want, because you got a little more area here, you can go right here. Collimate a little bit tighter on the sides. There you go. That will be, and always check. There you go. Always look over. That will be, and again, styloid process, I'm below it. I see a lot of students who are on the styloid process, they're above it, but you need to be right here. Remember, carpal bones are right here. Not here. Not here, right here, okay? But that will be for your AP wrist, or excuse me, PA wrist.
That's distal to the styloid.
Mm-hmm. Correct. All right, so from here, so I have you here, just get you, bring your fingers out and just kind of arc your hand up a little bit. There you go. Looks like she's doing a modified fan lateral, but she's just oblique in her hand. This just gives support, but it also gives me a nice oblique. Okay, so, but I still need to center her up. So from here, can adjust her a little bit. And that's the other thing too. Still need to be below the styloid process. Most patients, you can still see that, even when you go into your obliques, okay? And you still, you want to be equidistant, so you just kind of look over them. Even though everyone's like, but it should still be here. Just make sure you're centered. You just got to be centered, okay? All right, so same thing. Got my marker in there, and that's what we want. Depending on some of them, you end up lining up, right? You actually end up being between your second and your third. It's kind of hitting the side of your third. Does that make sense? Okay, you can see your CR there. Check it one more time. Okay, my marker's not in the shadow. Collimation field, I shouldn't have to adjust. Okay. All right, that would be your oblique. You don't need a sponge. You can just use your patient's hand to your advantage. Okay. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna raise my table up because we're getting ready to go into our lateral. Okay. So I'm gonna go up. All right, my table's going up. Okay. Just gonna try and get it flush with your shoulder. Okay. All right. So what I'm gonna get you to do now is to take your arm and kind of bend it towards you. Perfect. All right, can you scoot in a little bit? Hold on one second. I'm gonna scoot this table a little bit more towards you. Give her a little more room, okay? Because you wanna have her as much on here as possible, okay? So I'm gonna match. This is the long axis of her forearm. Long axis of my cassette matching. I'm doing the wrist. Wrist needs to be centered. Okay? You gentlemen okay? Alright, so I'm gonna make sure it matches the axis of her. Still see styloid process, I'm still below. Okay? So, have her here. I'm gonna adjust my collimation in a second. So remember how I talked how you need to cup your hand a little bit? It's just get her to rotate her palm just a little bit out, just like that. That actually superimposes, make sure the radius and the ulna are superimposed. Okay? So they're literally like this, and you just have them bring, just don't rotate the wrist, just get them to rotate their palm. Just kind of rotate it in a little bit. Sometimes you might need to do it for them because they may not understand. That one's kind of hard to, it's like, I just need you to cup your hand a little bit, and they're just going to do this. Like, can you kind of take your thumb and move it out? So just kind of rotate back a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna adjust my collimation. I'm actually gonna bring my cassette. And yes, I am this OCD in clinic when I was a tech too. I was just much quicker. Can't be that quick here. So, and again, same thing, about to the knuckle, usually go to the tip of the thumb, here to here, okay? A lot of times you'll see them collimate a little bit tighter. They may go a little like this, about to the knuckle. But depending on where you're at, they want you to open up, they want you to use the length of the cassette. Don't collimate too tight because again, we may be looking here, but there may be a distal fracture here that we catch that can start to spiral up. Okay, that's another reason why we make sure we include a good portion of the radius and ulna as well. So again, this right here, she's not 100% flush, but this is still 90 degrees. This is okay, because we're just doing wrist, okay? All right. Okay, we've done hand, we've done PA, oblique, and lateral. We've done thumb. Thumb is already an oblique with your PA. Curling your fingers up brings it to a lateral. Pouring out a drink for your AP. Okay. Wrist. Literally, for your PA, you want those fingers rolled under. They can leave their thumb out. Just to put the carpal bones closer to your IR. Same thing here. Bring their hands like this. Get them to rotate their hands like this to give you that oblique. It gives you a perfect oblique almost every time. Okay? Your lateral, whether I'm doing elbow, forearm, or wrist, this is how we need to be. This is the only time that I don't need her 100% flush for the wrist. When we get to forearm and elbow, that's different, okay? And that's your 3 projections of your wrist, okay?